is beaten, you have rescued me. Now Jesus is alive. Empty cross, the empty grave, life eternal, you have won the day. Shout it out, Jesus is alive. He's alive. And oh, happy day, happy day. You washed my sins away. Oh, happy day, happy day. I'll never be the same. When I stand in that place, meeting face to face, I'm yours, Jesus, you are mine. Endless joy and perfect peace, earth and pain finally will cease. Celebrate, Jesus is alive. He's alive. And oh, happy day, happy day. You washed my sins away. Oh, happy day, happy day. I'll never be the same. And oh, what a glorious day. What a glorious way that you have saved me. Oh, what a glorious day. What a glorious name. Hey, no, happy day, happy day. You washed my sins away. Oh, happy day, happy day. I'll never be the same. Yeah, BJ. That was all right.
All right, question of the week. Would you do it over spring break if you had it? Stand for this one? Okay. Clap. Yeah. Yes. Mary, you have to help me.
All right, will everyone stand up and come to the front, please? Please? Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, band. Good job. All right. Thank you guys for coming out to youth group tonight. We actually have a guest speaker tonight, which is lots of fun. I don't have my notes here. Couple announcements I want to do beforehand, a couple highlights for you guys. So we talked about before the discipleship pathway, right? The family, faithful, fruitful. So everything we do is designs around this family, faithful, fruitful, and how we can plug into that. So the youth ministry is no exception. And these are the things we have going on. So family, actually, first, this is attendance. So if you guys could sign this and pass it around, Mary. Thank you. Sign that, pass it around. So first up is spring retreat. How many of you guys are already signed up for spring retreat? All right. How many of you guys are going to spring retreat but haven't signed up yet? That's what I thought. So there's still a couple people. We are ordering shirts tomorrow. So we need t-shirt sizes. If you guys have not signed up yet, I have these. I'll be handing these out outside after service. So just sign up right there so at least we have your t-shirt size, right? We'll deal with the rest of it later. Faithful After School Impact out in Wright City. We started that up 2 weeks ago. That is on Wednesdays. If you are from the Wright City area and you want to come out after school, come on out and hang out with us. There's also small groups at both campuses Wednesday night. So if you guys want to plug in there, it's a little more intimate setting. You guys can talk with the same people every week and get to know each other and kind of grow in your faith together. Fruitful, we have 2 service opportunities. March has been stupid busy for a youth group. We have had so many service opportunities, so many things going on, confirmation, getting ready for retreat, lots of things happening, and we don't want to skimp on service opportunities. So here's the deal. It seems like I always tell you guys what we're doing, and then I have to beg people later on because I don't think you guys have a chance to sign up. So I'm sending around clipboards if you guys are interested. March 25th at Del Mar, the band is playing over there for the service. We need help doing wheelchairs. Pushing old people around, they say. So pushing them out of their rooms from the wheelchairs, getting them down into the worship area. So I'm going to pass that around first. Yes, Tara. Help push them. So you're the only way they get to know God is through you, Lex Pole. They only know Jesus because of you. So, if you can help with that, go ahead and sign up. And then caregivers we're going to play bingo with the old folks. So, March 31st, the band's going to play there also. If you're interested in helping with that, you can pass it backwards. Sign up for those opportunities, okay? It'd be great if we got a lot of folks to show up for those. I would really appreciate it. I have new crew. And the only reason I'm even doing new crew is because Sean was here last week, and he didn't get a chance to come up here last week because last week got turned into a game night. But Sean McKelvey, say hi, is in the back. He's a new guy. Sean, I'm going to come over to you later on. I have either an Xbox gift card or a Target gift card for you. Okay? Oh, my gosh, I know. But other than that, we'll do Teen of the Week after our game. So are you able to get the game up? Let's see what we can do here. It's game time. Get serious. Get focused. They're trying to figure out. You guys are actually going to have to get up. So you guys can get up and come up front if you want, or however you want to do this. You'll have to get up and pick a side. So, okay, celebrity baby picks. All right? So you're going to show a picture. Give us an example. All right. You got to figure out if that's Tobey Maguire, Amy Schumer, or Kanye West. All right. So this is what we're going to do. If you think it's Tobey Maguire, you would stand over in this section. If you think it's Amy Schumer, you'd stand in front. If you think it's Kanye, you'd stand over here. All right? And we'll keep playing until we're down to one person, and then I have gift cards for that. So why don't you, Billy, go ahead and put those down right where you're sitting. Everybody stand up. All right? And who do we think this is? Are we going with Tobey Maguire over here? Amy Schumer? Is it a boy or a girl? Is he black or white? I don't know. And Kanye West. You can do communion if you want. Tobey Maguire, Amy Schumer, Kanye. I'm not going to make you do it again. That's right. All right. We good? All right, who is it? Toby Maguire. That's totally a boy. Psych. All right, so go ahead and sit down if you picked Amy Schumer or Kanye. All right, you guys are all still in. Give us another one. All right, you guys all want to play again now that you get it? All right, you guys can have another chance. Stand up. CeeLo Green, again, for having identity issues. JT, I love JT. Or Brad Pitt, all right? We going CeeLo Green, JT, or Brad Pitt? You can sit there if you want. CeeLo, JT, BP, Brad Pitt. All right, you guys convinced? Are you convinced? Alyssa, Jordan, you guys aren't convinced of any of it. The last one threw you for such a loop, you have no idea. All right, who is it? JT, all right. So, Brad Pitt, grab a seat. Who's up next? Charlize Theron, Britney Spears, or Angelina Jolie? Charlize Theron, Britney Spears, Angelina Jolie. Do what? She is Black Widow. Black Widow, isn't she? Oh, you're right. That is Scarlett Johansson. You're right. All right, so you guys are all picking Britney Spears? This could totally be Brandon's thing. All right, who we got? Angelina. All right. You all lose. Go away. Go away. That was a quick fall. All right, Brandon, what you want, buddy? We got Xbox or Target? Target. All right, Nerf guns. Wow, guys, I'm severely disappointed in most of you. All right. And last thing I got for you is our teen of the week. If you filled out a form, if you didn't fill out a form, sorry. We wanted to so bad. Sydney Kill. So Sydney, come on up. We got 10 questions for you. There you go. You can use that mic. All right. So, Mary, she's using your mic. I'm using Mary's mic. That's your own mic. Name, grade, and school. Those are the first three, right?
I'm Sydney Kill. I'm in 7th. I got a Zumwalt Middle South.
Zumwalt South Middle. Hi, Sydney. What, you think you're better because you go to West? Yeah. This is going to get ugly. Territory wars. Okay. Favorite candy?
Jolly Ranchers.
I like Jolly Ranchers. Good flavor. Favorite childhood memory?
Going to my first Cubs game.
Ew. Because it was so traumatic. Because it was so awful, and you realize the burning. Cubs fan? I didn't know that.
And it was a Cards Cubs game. Cubs won.
Oh, gosh. All right. Whatever. Do you eat ice cream in the winter?
Yes.
Yes. All right. I know a lot of people that will not eat ice cream in the winter. Your ideal day. What's the perfect day for you?
My gosh.
Wake up in the morning and you think, I'm going to do the best day ever. What am I going to do? Go back to bed?
We'll sleep in.
Sleep
for
in?
one.
Okay.
Probably like go hiking or something, or like be on a vacation.
Okay.
Being on a vacation would be awesome, and like going to Disney. Disney's.
So hiking through Disney World.
Yes.
Okay. Hiking through Disney World. The best day. All right. How long have you been coming to Impact?
Since the beginning of 6th grade.
Okay. And if you could ask God one question, what would it be?
Like, how do you determine consequences for people?
Ooh, very tricky. How do you determine consequences for people? Yeah, it's kind of deep. All right, and last one. Do you have any advice for your beautiful peers out here?
If you're in school, do your homework.
There you go. Do your homework, Alicia. Do your homework. All right, give her a round of applause. Do you like Xbox or Target? Target. All right. There you go. All right. Wonderful. So I said earlier we have a guest speaker. His name is Brian. If you guys saw the text message, I talked about overcoming addiction. He has a story he wants to share with you guys about how addiction affected his family and the role that Jesus played in trying to break out of that cycle of darkness. So you guys give a round of applause for Brian and pay attention, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here tonight. I teach up the road at Crossroads Elementary. There are probably a few people that are connected to that school somehow. I've seen a few faces through some pictures that I was sent from BJ of kids that go there. But I teach art, computers, PE, and medical detectives to sixth graders. And I live nearby in this area. So, but I've always wanted to talk about my story of my brother to older people. Every year I speak to fifth graders as part of the DARE connection with the police officers and the program they have at the school. And I've always wanted to also be able to talk about Jesus, but also be able to talk to older students that might be more involved in the kind of things my brother was involved in, like just the pressures of life and the stress of being a teenager and things like that. So I'm excited to be here, and I've prayed about it. And I just want to thank you for letting me tell my story. So I'm going to tell you about my brother, Bradley. You can go ahead. I'll just give you the thumbs up if that's all right for the next one. Anyway, okay. So Bradley, there was four of us brothers. I was the oldest, and Bradley was kind of like a son to me. We didn't have the same dads. We did have the same mom, and mom had a lot of problems when I was about 12, and she kind of started being out of the picture. So this is Bradley here, and I coached him in American Legion baseball. He was a very, very talented young man, very gifted athletically, and also gifted with people. He could light up a room and just make people smile. He was really good with kids. He had a heart to be like a kid and get down on the floor and play with kids really well. He just had a lot of really good qualities. Go ahead with the next one. I'll always tell the fifth graders he could hit a ball as far as Cardinal players. He could run faster than most of them, and he could throw it harder than most Cardinal players. He was very talented. So that's just heading to the ball game with Bradley. Some of the best days of my life were being his coach, and he was not only like my son, but also kind of like my best friend. Yeah, you can go to the next one. It's okay. Oh, so there's my wife. She kind of stepped in and helped me raise Bradley. I guess when he was probably about 14, 15, we did have a lot of troubles with Bradley wanting to fit in with other kids, and he started making some bad decisions, and it was really rough. It was a rough ride. You can go ahead to the next one. So that's him when he was little. He's a very sweet and precious little boy. He was, of the four brothers, I always thought he would turn out the best because he had the best heart. He was the kind of kid, if you gave him $5 for doing his chores, he wanted to take everybody to McDonald's, or just kind of stuff like that. But he was just the sweetest of the four of us. And there's a Bible verse, Luke 12:7, the hairs of your head are numbered. Psalm 139:14, I praise thee, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Just like every one of us in this room, Bradley was very wonderfully made. You can go to the next one. He is no longer here. He died on June 3rd of 2012, and he did die from drug use. And that's why I'm here and anywhere I can be to talk about this, because I feel like it's just my calling and it's the right thing to do. That's him with my son right there. Like I said, he's really good with kids. You can go ahead. And that's just a few weeks ago. I went and visited him the only way I can visit him now. And is, go ahead, the next one. So I want to talk about how it can start. Raise your hand if you've ever seen a teenager smoking cigarettes before. Okay. I will need a little bit of your help from you guys, a little bit of interaction and participation. So why do you guys think a teenager would make that choice to smoke? Like, cigarettes are stinky and addictive and expensive and harmful to your body, and they make you an outcast because almost everywhere you can't smoke. Like, they're rotten. And Bradley started, when he started doing stuff, it was cigarettes. So why do you think teenagers might smoke cigarettes? Anybody? Way to escape? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Peer pressure. So yeah, to fit in, because Bradley had this overwhelming feeling of rejectedness, and I think all of us deal with being rejected at some point in our lives in some way, shape, or form. But he had it like really deep feeling of it because his dad was gone since he was a baby, and then mom kind of stepped out when he was I don't even remember. I was 12, so he was like 2, 3, 4, somewhere around. He was very little. So he always had this overwhelming feeling of rejectedness, and he wanted to fit in. So go ahead and go to the next one. So where did it lead for Bradley? Well, it led to alcohol, and before I knew it, I mean, things start happening so fast, like faster than I realized what's going on. And this is the third, like, there's 2 brothers that came before him, so I thought I kind of had stuff figured out, so a lot of this caught me off guard. But so drinking alcohol is a natural progression. So cigarettes can be a gateway. There's a lot of things can be a gateway, which the police officers talk about is like one thing that leads into another. And so for Bradley, I wasn't there listening to his thoughts, but I'm thinking it must have been like, I've already done this, so it's not that big of a deal if I do this. Like, making one bad choice can lead to a lot of choices that are worse and progressively worse. And so drinking, and then pills, finding a group of friends and being accepted. And pills are like medicine that's not for students. From what I understand, in high schools and middle schools, it's like rampant. Getting it out of parents' cabinets, selling it, using it, that's against the law, and it's abusing it. But that's how it started for him, and I can see how a little white pill can seem so harmless and innocent, but the medicine that's not for us or prescribed to us can really, really, well, for Bradley, it really, really got him. That's where he really started going to a place where he couldn't come back from. And so the drug that got him was heroin, but it comes in pill form, and things progressed, and it got worse, worse, and worse. And I tried everything, tough love, spending time with him, playing ball with him. I tried so many things, and you can go ahead and go to the next one. But that's basically what I was dealing with. And I know that a lot of you kids are awesome kids, and I'm trying to connect my story, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but well, I'll touch on that in a little bit. I want to read some letters that I have from Bradley when he was in jail. Bradley was incarcerated 4 times. The longest time was 7 months, and he actually passed away in a jail cell. Somebody snuck some drugs into the jail that was doing their weekend time, and that's when it happened. So I want to read you I have tons of letters here from him, and I also have letters in my back pocket from my other brother, which I'm not going to read. So here's a message from Bradley. I'm going to skip around and just read the highlighted parts. Well, first off, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I appreciate everything you've ever done for me. I'm thankful, and I want to apologize sincerely for always rebelling against what you would say, especially for the time I could not understand why you would do things the way you did. You and James have used a lot of tough love on me, and I would misinterpret that and think and feel that you guys really didn't love me anymore. It's silly that I have to go through everything I have and still am going through, especially when I have so much potential and had the world at my fingertips. It is insane how one bad decision could lead into a series of hundreds of them, and it is so bad how blind I became. I couldn't see reality anymore. I could only see things the way I wanted to and did things the way I wanted to do them. But look where that got me. After I get out this time, I have a total of 17 months behind bars. That's absolutely ridiculous. I think he was about 22 when he wrote this. Oh, 23. Especially for someone the age of 23. It is just insane how blinded and misunderstood drugs make you. I never wish this upon anyone. It's embarrassing. Later on, he says, I love you, big bro, and thank you for all that you have done. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So, Bradley was a Christian. I got his baseball jersey here. I've got his hat with the scriptures written on his hat. And I do believe the word of God is enough to handle anything because Jesus quotes it to the devil when the devil comes at him. I do believe it's enough. But Bradley there's one truth that he didn't realize, and that's how wonderful he was. And that truth we cannot find in other people. You can take two children that are twins and you can raise one of them beautifully and lovingly, and they'll grow up and odds are they're going to turn out to have an awesome life. And you can take the other one and hurt them and reject them, and odds are they're going to live out that pain and they're going to live out a lie. Because when they're born, when we're all born, every one of us in this room, God spares no expense. I mean, we are a wonderful, awesome creation. And if we know how much God loves us and we feel that, we don't have to seek the acceptance. You can seek acceptance in many ways. It doesn't have to be cigarettes and drugs. It could be just trying to fit in with people. And that's how I'm trying to connect my message, is that we all have to realize how beautiful and amazing we are and what we can do in this world. Like, God has equipped us with his love, like how his love can affect our life and how it can affect people through us. We have to realize that. Go ahead and go to the next one. So this is some of the things I was just talking about. There's 7 billion people in this world. You were just talking about the seniors that could use a wheelchair ride over here. That's an offer to you guys. That offer is not to everyone. Like, we all have a certain amount of people in our life, a circle of influence that we can affect. And every one of us is unique in that we can change the world like no other person can because of who we are and our circle of people that are around us. Could be your people at school, your family, your friends. So the truth is, like I was saying, who we are in God and how much he loves us. When I had my first child, Derek, I didn't hear audible voices, and a lot of you parents, raise your hand if you're a parent. Okay. A lot of you parents might have felt the same feeling of this moment where you're just in awe and wonder of your child and thankful and how beautiful your child is. And then you just feel God saying, that's how I feel about you. And unfortunately, a lot of students and kids don't realize that God feels that way about them and loves them like that. Because I feel like when kids do things where they hurt themselves, for Bradley, I feel like he had to believe a lie every time that he made those mistakes. Like, every time he had to believe that he wasn't amazing and awesome and incredible. Go ahead and go to the next one. So on that note, I did get some pictures from some of the youth group here, and it's really cool to see you guys singing together and that you're here together and that you have such a big group. So I just want to go ahead and play that. You can play that one. And I I made this video of you guys, and I hope some of you guys are in the pictures. One of my favorite songs.
Mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall, telling those lies, pointing out your flaws. That isn't who you are. That isn't who you are. It might be hard to hear, but let me tell you, dear, if you could see what I could see, I know you would believe that isn't who you are. There's more to who you are. So when it's late, you're wide awake, too much to take. Don't shift and forget that in the pain, you can be brave, hear me say. I see you dressed in white, every wrong made right. I see you rose in bloom at the sight of you. Irreplaceable, unmistakable, incomparable, darling, it's beautiful. I see it all in you. No matter what you've heard, this is what you're worth. More than all the money or the diamonds and pearls. Oh, this is who you are. Yeah, this is who you are. So when it's late, you're wide awake, too much to take. Don't shift and forget that in the pain, you can be brave, hear me say. I see you dressed in white.
Go to the next one. Anybody see themselves in any of those pictures? Couple? Okay. So this is just one of my favorite videos I like to share with people. It talks about being a hero, and I think every single one of us can be a hero every day of our life if we choose to be. It's not for people in the movies. So go ahead and play that link. Hope you guys enjoy it.
This one goes out to the heroes. Everyday heroes. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You probably are like, I'm not a hero, you're talking to the wrong person. And I'm all like, you're talking to your TV. So listen up. I think you're a hero and you don't even know it yet. Maybe you're like me, you look in the mirror and you don't really see a hero. You look and you just see a regular kid. A really good looking regular kid. But you're a hero. Whether you're a kid or a grown up. You're way more than you might think you are. You're more than your problems and you're more than your mistakes. Somewhere inside, you're a hero. You might not have a cape or wear underwear outside your clothes. That's probably a good thing. You have everything right now to change the world. Everything! Heroes are just ordinary people who've done extraordinary things. They inspire other people to be extraordinary. People like Nathaniel. He's 12 years old and he's now okay with the fact that there are people in the world who don't have clean water. He raised enough money to help 30 schools in Central Africa. Madison, when she was 15, she created a beauty pageant for boys and girls that have special needs because she wanted to celebrate real beauty. My friend Bob, he's 55 and he's living out love in so many different ways. Right now he's working on building a school so kids in Uganda know they're loved. Kids can change the world and grown-ups can change the world. It would go a whole lot faster if we worked together. Heroes are made when ordinary people like you and me decide to be extraordinary. Or extra ordinary. Extra ordinary. That's too many extras. Here's what I'm trying to say. If you want to be awesome, treat people awesome. It's about strength. Firepower! Not like picking up a car kind of strength. I'll pick it up and just drop it and go like, oh, he's so nerdy, but so strong. I want to go out with him. He can pick up a car. But it's not about that. I'm talking about compassion. Nothing stronger than that. It's what changes things. So who's been a hero to you? Da-da-da. Parents? Teachers? Friends? Let them know. Heroes don't always know that you're heroes. We all need reminders. The little things that we do are a big deal. Heroes are people in our lives who see us what we really are. Awesome. Did you hear that? I said it. You're awesome. You're awesome. You don't need need a cape and you don't need money. You don't even need to be bitten by something radioactive. You just need to care. And if you are bitten by something radioactive, you should go to a doctor, sir. It'll make your pee green. It would be cool to fly or be part spider or be part squirrel. I don't think part squirrel is a thing. Is that a thing? Like a man squirrel? But you're already filled with superpowers. So don't wait for a signal in the sky. Look a little closer at the world around you. You're ready right now. It's time to be the hero that you're meant to be. Cape, what are you not okay with? Think about it. Now what do you have? And who can you bring with you? Everybody! 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 You have everything that you need to make someone's day more awesome. Someone may never told you this, but I promise it's true. The world needs heroes, and that hero could be you. That hero could be you. And that hero could be you. Yeah. Let's do this.
Okay. Go ahead. Put that one. So, heroes, and tying this into my brother, with elementary students, we talk about, do heroes really exist? And I encourage them to be a hero, and I talk about ideas of things they can do. And we can all do things to be heroes, pushing people over to church, writing someone a letter. I mean, I could give you ideas, but I'm sure you all can come up with your own ideas how you can be a hero. Go ahead and go to the next one, please. So with Bradley's eulogy, when I spoke at his funeral, I just felt this overwhelming desire to go against what took him from me in the darkness and evil. And I talked to everyone in the church that what would darkness have us do? Well, a lot of us have been around darkness in our life, or you will have darkness in your life. You'll have pain. And a lot of times the natural reaction is to give into that and to not make good choices. For me, I was never perfect, but as a teenager, seeing things that were really wrong around me, I want to thank God for this, but I had this feeling inside me that I wanted the opposite of that. Like I didn't have a family, and there was a lot of violence and drugs and alcohol. My dad was a pretty rough guy. He was a biker. He was a good guy, but there was just a lot of rough things. But I always had this overwhelming feeling that I wanted to live in opposition to what I was seeing. So I have 4 brothers, and 2 of us have decided to live in opposition. And what is opposition to darkness? Well, it's love. And we're all capable of loving people, and hopefully when you hear something like this story, or when there's things that are hurtful in your life, hopefully the reaction is love, and not to give in to those things, because love is the opposite of the things that can really, really hurt us. Go ahead and go to the next. So what can you do? What can I do? Is realize how precious we are, how priceless we are. If those of you that do come around drugs and alcohol, some of you may not have that pressure in your life. Some of you may have a cousin or a friend or somebody that you know will have that pressure. I know it's rampant in the high schools, the partying and just that need to be accepted. But it all comes up like empty. So just realize that how people see you and treat you has nothing to do with who you are. Nothing. Resist drugs and alcohol. By not giving in to darkness and to do the opposite of what our natural feeling often is, to do something loving, is hero type things to me. Go ahead and go to the next one. So the story starts off kind of sad, but I want to end it on a positive note. That's Bradley on the right. That's Sean next to Bradley. He is in prison, and he's probably going to stay there. And there's James and myself. We are both living in opposition to darkness. We are just thankful and trying to love God with how we treat our family and how we treat people around us, and trying to be in opposition to all the hurt that we've, so to sum it up, your hurt can be a blessing if you allow it to. Go ahead and go to the next one. So that's me and James on the left, and that's James's family right now. Basically, and go ahead and go to the next one. Our lives are opposite of what we saw. So all of the hurt and all of the pain does not define you. You have a choice. You know God loves you, and you have a choice to live in opposition to that. And sometimes if someone is hurtful to you at school or bullies you or doesn't accept you, instead of, it's okay to be sad, but instead of wallowing in that or giving into that or acting out or yelling at your parents, maybe just go against your natural reaction and just do something loving. And as a school teacher, I try to sit down and write 2 or 3 positive emails every day about kids, just as a way to, that's my little way to fight darkness. And every morning, go ahead and go to the next one. Every morning, not every morning, on a good day, I pray for God to fill me with His Holy Spirit and to allow me to love people around me. And I have over 100 kids a day that I deal with. And I'm not perfect, but I try to be as loving as I can. I try to be magical for them, and I try to make their day as much as I can. I try to be a really good teacher. And that's, a lot of that is because the hurt I had from losing my brother, I just want to be more loving, and I want to make good out of something that was bad. And being a Christian does not mean you get a safety net and bad things will not happen in your life. But you can take bad things and make it glorify God with your choices. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm fighting what took my brother, and I'm going to glorify Jesus. And I'm going to love people more every day. And I'm going to pray for God to fill me with the Spirit. And He does. Miss Bierenbaum, she goes here to your church. She's the reason why she invited me to reach out to BJ. You go on BJ? To reach out to BJ and let him know that I would be glad to come and talk. And I told her one day, she said, how do you deal with such and such? And I said, honestly, on a good day, I pray. I say, God, just let me shine your light. And she said she tried it, and it worked. And it's kindergarten. I could never teach kindergarten. I need a lot of light shining. But that is a really important prayer for me. And I want to ask you guys to pray that prayer with me to get in that habit of asking God to allow us to shine His light in all circumstances. So would you guys please just say a little prayer with me? Dear Heavenly Father, I just love you, and I thank you so much for this chance to talk about Bradley and your truth. And I pray that this message is well received, and that myself and anyone in this room can just shine your light. And just, God, please allow us to shine your light every day. Allow us to connect with you and pray. And let us draw on the strength that we can in you. So God, just when things are hard, help us remember to say a prayer that we could shine your light and glorify you. And that's how we make sense of things, God. So please, every day, just allow us to shine your light. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Right. So, Sherry Bierenbaum introduced me to Brian, and whenever I reached out to him, she said he had a story about drug abuse and addiction and all this stuff that I texted you guys, and you guys have all heard my story 100 times about drug use and everything. So I'm not going to bore you back with that again, but I thought it was a neat opportunity to hear it from somebody else. I don't think you guys can hear it enough, and what I really liked about Brian's message is that it's not just based upon oh, you smoke a joint, now you're going to die of heroin. It was like, you're special. There's something special about you, and you should own that. And whenever you do, that changes the basic decisions you make in your life. It changes the decisions of not only how you view yourself, but how you treat yourself. And I think that's so important to understand because because it's easy to get lost, right? It's easy to get confused on what that is and look for acceptance in other places. And so I love that point of his message, and I'm glad that he came out and shared his story with you guys. I want to take a few minutes, instead of doing breakout groups, I wanted to do questions for Brian. Any questions you guys have for him? Not necessarily just drug addiction, but I mean, things about his story and what he learned and about his life, and anything you guys have, including the adults. I need some of the adults to kind of help us get some of these questions rolling on what you guys have. Amy.
No, sometimes people do, but for him, he did not. There was about 3 years of addiction before he died. And I love the questions. Sometimes they can be really helpful. So if you have any questions at all, I'll be happy to share. I was an atheist also in college, by the way. So I could tell you part of my story, or anything any question you have at all, I'd be happy to answer.
And no, we're not brothers. I know. You kind of looks that one.
I have I have a little bit more.
Go ahead, Lex.
Fair. What I just talked to you guys about, a lot of this, he passed away, and a lot of this came into my heart after that happened, and I wish it hadn't, but there's a saying, you can't cry over spilt milk. So all I can do is make the most of it, and that's you guys allowing me to sit here and speak to you about it, and that's all we can do sometimes, is just make the most of it. Thank you. That's a good question. Any questions are a good question. Thank you.
What else you guys got? You're thinking about? We had an interesting conversation in our small group one week that was, I think there's a confusion sometimes that the only things that are bad for me are the things that are illegal. Because we had a conversation about, especially with pot getting legalized everywhere now, about if it's legal, then would I try it? And then I think that's a confusion part too, where again, if you don't understand that whether it's legal or not, it still hurts you, what that means for you. So, you guys have any other questions? Yeah, Ann.
Probably 15, 14, 15. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's kids 10, 11, and 12, or as a teacher, I'm hearing stories of things that kids are doing, and it just breaks my heart. And, a lot of times it's what's going on around the kids. Like, God doesn't make kids that just want to do these things. Like, usually, a lot of times adults are part of the reason why kids make bad decisions, and for Bradley, I think his parents was a big part of that.
Tara?
Oh, great question. I love that question. So we had, I kind of raised my brothers, but I didn't do it all on my own. We had a grandma that was a Christian and took us to church, and she's like an angel to us. I whipped their butts, and she fed us and helped us, But anyway, Grandma passed away. And I told myself, I grew up in church, and I got in college, and I took a class called zoology, and they taught us how life goes from a bacteria to a cell to an animal all the way up to humans, and they take God out of the picture, and they don't tell you so much in that class. But I took that class, and with all my wonderful knowledge, I just declared that everything I learned up until that point was hogwash. And when Grandma died, I said, just to honor my grandmother, I'm going to read the Bible from front to back, and I'm going to shoot it down. There's so many silly stories in there. Just to honor her, I'm going to read through it to make sure. And all these stories started adding up around Isaiah, on all these messages and stories about Christ are being foretold about Jesus 500 years later. And the stories are hitting the nail on the head over and over and over and over, hundreds of times, in a way that could only be God talking and saying, it's real. You can believe. And I just had a moment where I was working at Chrysler, and I had to read. You can read a Bible every day for like 5-10 minutes and get through the Bible in a year. It took me 2 years. But somewhere around Isaiah, it hit me, and just went home, got on my knees, and cried, and just asked God to forgive me. I accepted. I was baptized when I was 12, but I think that's when I really asked God into my heart. I think that's a great question. Yes. Yes. Yeah, we had rehab, some good rehab experiences, some, anytime he was in jail or rehab, his mind was right. Like in the letters, you can see he's just regretful and saying he's not going to do it anymore. But that pain of, I think, mostly his dad just lingered over him. And that was, anytime you feel that pain, that would be an escape, temporary escape that would always be regretful and or make things hurt even worse. It's almost like young people or older people they're almost like they're going to hurt themselves because they're in a way they're saying, I deserve this, when they don't deserve it. Yes. He was actually in jail when Bradley died, and he wasn't able to be there. When he got out, he turned the other way. James and I turned to God and decided to love was the opposite. And this brother said, well, I'm going to go do what Bradley did because I don't even know what his reasons were. But I would say, took the typical path of giving in to darkness when there's darkness around you like that. And I just like to share our story to encourage people to go the other way when something like that happens. Any other questions?
I think, I mean, you said Sherry had asked you, how do you stay positive? And you said you say that prayer. What drives you? Like, I think it's so easy for us to just slowly kind of give up on our faith. Like, we're not seeing instant changes, right? Or something big happens and we're not seeing instant healing or, instant gratification. To just consistently stay positive in the face of negativity. How do you compel yourself to do that? Is it just you habitually prayed that to the point where it became normal, or like do you feel compelled to? Or
It's becoming more normal. I love that question. That's a great question. I think what compels me to stay driven like that is the opportunity that I have as a teacher. But you don't have to be a teacher. You can just realize you have opportunity around you. And I realize that every day I have this opportunity, and I feel like God is to have an effect on these little children. I feel like God is saying, maybe not saying, but he's placed me in a position that I better take good care of it. And if I'm going to take care of it, I need him. I need to shine his light. And so just the importance of not necessarily my job, but what's in front of me, the importance of my family, my children. It's hard for me to spend time with my family, just being honest here, to get down and play games and engage. I want to get on my phone or I want to watch TV, and it's to get down and just engage with my wife and my children. But God helps me do that. I have prayed, help me be a better dad, help me spend time. And just realizing the opportunity we have around us. And there's a movie, Schindler's List. Raise your hand if you've ever seen Schindler's List. At the end of the movie, I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody, but there's a quote. The time is almost over for everything to be over with, and he talks about a watch that he had, and he was saving lives with his possessions, and he had regrets that he had this watch on his hand, and that could have saved another life or two. And when we leave and go on to what's beyond this life, we don't want to have regrets. We want to seize every day and just ask God to help us shine his light at some point in the day. I'm not perfect, but he helps.
Andy.
Not enough. If I had my way, it would be hundreds. thousands. I've been speaking ever since the first year I was teaching. Fifth graders were doing DARE, and something was just on my heart to say something. So I started crying, and like I didn't cry tonight, but I've cried less and less the more I've talked about it. So it's good for me. But I would say I've had maybe about 10 opportunities to speak to large groups from anywhere from a few. I actually went to a rehab center and spoke to a friend's son a couple weeks ago. I'll talk to one person, I'll talk to 10, I'll talk to 1,000. But yeah, if you guys know anybody in your schools, you want me to come and speak to your youth, you could talk to your counselors. Maybe you know a teacher. Maybe you know people at other churches. You guys could help me spread the word. I put a post on Facebook that this is what I'm doing, and Sherry was, of all my 400 friends, Sherry is the only person that said, hey, I got something. I'm going to try to connect you with BJ. And I was like, thank you, God. Sure. Yeah, just making people feel special. Hey, I was thinking about you the other day, and this happened, and that you're thinking about people, that you're on that. If they're going through something, that you let them know that you're praying. But just being there, being like Kid President was saying, the heroes are people that love you for you, not for other things, like for who you really are. So, like, what is unique to this person? Just pray about it and think of ways you can make them feel better. Because when people don't feel good about themselves, that's when they usually go that downward spiral. And we want to try to. That's how we can fight darkness: is make people feel better about themselves and just be loving and invite them to church, stuff like that. Yes. Any opportunity, I would go speak with one person, or it's to honor. It honors God, and I count it as a blessing to speak about these things and to speak about how God's love helps me, and it really applies to my life. It's an honor to speak. Good question. Yes, I do. Crosshaven is right down the road over here. Yeah. My pastor that was in South County, he left the state, and I loved him to death. He actually went and spoke to one of my brothers in prison and preached about it, and it was incredible what happened through that. But he came back, and he was out here, and we were buying a house out here, and we got connected with him, and so yeah, that's where I'm at. He was a Christian. He loved Jesus, and our mom would stick us on the church bus on Sunday mornings. We'd be gone for 5 hours. That was her free babysitting. But he loved Jesus, and he had a heart for Jesus. I feel like you can love Jesus and still make mistakes. And he was swallowed up in a lie that what I was speaking about. His identity was not what he was feeling. That's not who he was. But I feel like he's in heaven, and God's just saying, he's with me, now go make the most of it. Yes. There's other kids that were smoking and skipping school and doing a lot of other bad things. Yeah.
All right, let's give Brian another round of applause. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Like I was saying, I thought this was just a good opportunity. You know, it's not about coming out here and trying to scare you guys away from drugs. It's not about coming out here and trying to, it's kind of like Lisa's question about, was he a Christian? Just because you guys come to youth group, you guys are still going to make mistakes. Just because you come to youth group doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. Doesn't mean that things don't happen. It doesn't make you less of a Christian, but it does, like Brian was saying, it's the voices you listen to, right? You're surrounded by positive voices and you're surrounded by negative voices. And the ones you attract and the ones you engage with is how you're going to make your decisions. And that's what it is. It's decisions. And I talk about that all the time with you guys. Life is a choice of decisions and consequences, either good ones or bad ones. So it's up to you what you want to do with it. It's up to you what you want to make with it. You're given the opportunity every day to either go for the light or go against it. And what you choose is going to impact not just you, but your entire area of influence. So just think about that. Think about it. I'm going to invite the band back up, and I'll get you guys ready for communion. That's it's a good segue into communion, actually, because I think about the decisions that Christ had to make. I think about the choices that he was faced with. It wasn't a guarantee that he would die for us. It wasn't a guarantee that he would give his life for our salvation. It wasn't a guarantee that he would follow through with the plan. He was a man. He was a human. And he was faced with the choice every day to go for the light or go against it. And every day, Christ chose to go for the light, no matter how hard it was. And it's signified best on the cross. It's signified best in that moment where he chose to overcome darkness once and for all for us, so that way we can make those choices every day. So we do this every week. We come up and we participate in communion. You just take a piece of the bread, you dip it in the juice, and you take it for his body and his blood. I invite you guys, after I pray, to come up and do that and remember the sacrifice he made so that you could choose the light. We have Joy Box. We're going to use this money to buy gifts for the little old people at Caregivers Inn. They're prizes for bingo. So if you guys brought any money to throw into the Joy Box, that'd be great, so that way they can get even better prizes. Go ahead and bow with me as I pray. Father God, we so appreciate the sacrifices that you make. We so appreciate the ultimate sacrifice of Christ on the cross, but the sacrifices you continue to make. God, it's not easy to watch us mess up. It's not easy to see us fall over and over again, but God, you are patient and you are kind, and you love us so much that you're willing to endure through all our misgivings. So God, we just come to you today remembering the blessings that you give. We come to you in hopes of living a better week this week than we did last week. And God, I just hope that we take some of Brian's words to heart tonight, that we just take those opportunities to be your light in an otherwise dark world that just seems to want to overcome us all the time. Let us fight back with strength that you give us. Let us fight back with that power of light that you trust us with. And let us shine a little bit brighter on someone else's life this week, God. If we just stay focused outwards, sometimes that's the best way to be bright for other people. God, be with us this week to keep us safe. We have confirmation next week, and then we celebrate Easter, which is an amazing miracle, and straight into retreat. God, it'll be a while before we're back here on a Sunday night for you, but we still honor you and worship you every day. Keep us close to this month that we spend away, and be with us, and especially at retreat. I'm excited about what you have planned there. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
oceans deep, my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine. When grace abounds in deepest waters, your sovereign hand will be my guide. Where feet may fail, my fear surrounds me. You've never failed, and you won't start now. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the water. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you may call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. So I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine.
All right, you can stand up and join us in our last song. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more of you. Pour it out. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. More, I want more. Want more, I want more. I want more of you. Pour it out. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Yeah, snacks.